Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is yet another Eurovision 2025 related video here on my channel, and today I am going to be briefly reviewing the second semi-final of this year's Eurovision Song Contest, which at the time of this recording took place last night in Basel, Switzerland, with 16 nations involved. And I'll also be previewing the grand final, which takes place tomorrow night, with 26 countries involved, and I'll also be telling you my rough prediction for the results. As always, you're welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. I want to take this opportunity to say a big thank you once again for the continued support on this channel. It means a great deal to me. I've also not been feeling 100% this week, which always happens when Eurovision is on for some reason. I'm not sure that's going to change by tomorrow night, when all being well I'll be filming my reaction to the results as they come in, and that video will be up on my channel as soon as the live broadcast is over. And I also want to say that this morning at approximately 7:40 AM I spoke over the phone to my local radio station, BBC Radio Northampton, discussing this year's Eurovision Song Contest Grand Final, and all being well I'll be doing that again on Monday morning. I will post a link to today's little snippet in the description below, and also on one or two of my other social media pages, and I will do the same again on Monday as soon as I have a link for that. I'm always happy to talk to them. I've been doing it for a few years now, always thankful for the opportunity. With that being said, let's get straight into this. I am sure I will ramble for the ages once again. Let's focus to begin with on last night's second semi-final, which I enjoyed a great deal more than Tuesday's first semi-final. More songs that I enjoyed. I thought it was a more vibrant show on the whole, and definitely it was quite competitive, I would say, and it'll be interesting to see the full results of this semi-final when they're released after tomorrow night's grand final. Let's go through the songs that did not qualify first, beginning with Australia's Song 1, Milkshake Man by Gojo. Maybe a bit of a surprise that this is not in the final. I saw a comment on social media late last night from somebody saying the novelty has worn off. It's no longer that interesting that Australia are taking part. Now, whether there's any truth to that or not, I don't really know. Has the novelty worn off or not? Was there any novelty to begin with? What I will say about this particular performance is that I found it quite flat, but it did warm up as it went on, and I would say the last 30 to 40 seconds or so was pretty enjoyable. It's obviously a very suggestive track, not to be taken too seriously at all. I've written here that at the start it sounded very quiet. Now, this is not Gojo's fault. I think a lot of the artists this year have been perhaps plagued a little bit by dodgy sound mixing or something like that. Maybe it's just me, but some of the performances have sounded, at least at the start, quite quiet for some reason, and that was definitely what I thought last night with Milkshake Man. He stepped into the big blender prop, there was the puff of smoke, the costume change, dancers on stage with him, and even though he had that big prop with him right in the middle of the stage, it still felt empty somehow. I don't know why, but I just felt that way. Somewhat chaotic towards the end. There was quite a lot of energy, that was very clear, and certainly the crowd seemed fired up for it. Very colourful, one of the most colourful performances this year, but Australia did not make the cut. And it remains to be seen why, I suppose. As for Song 2, Montenegro, this was Dobrodošli by Nina Žižić, returning after 12 years away. Pretty nice ballad, quite powerful. Didn't really love the outfit, which had that big plume of white fabric behind her head. She was wearing a blindfold at the start, and then she tossed it to one side. Red lipstick. She sounded perfectly fine. Just too unremarkable to do the business, I've written here, but I've also written down elegant. I would say that this was a really classy and elegant looking performance. Very little to fault, it just didn't stand out enough. Hopefully Montenegro will be back next year, and hopefully they won't withdraw again. Song 3, Ireland, Emmy Like a Party. Well, this was like Croatia in semi-final 1, a country that did well last year, and we all thought maybe they're turning a corner a little bit, but actually they've sort of gone back to square one. Croatia did not push on after Mamushcha and Rim Tim Taggy Dim, they've gone backwards. Marco wasn't the problem, the song just wasn't good enough, in my opinion. And with Ireland, Doomsday Blue was very visually arresting, had loads of fans, definitely a standout performance last year in Malmö. This year, like a party, there wasn't really a great deal of hype for it whatsoever, and Ireland have taken a bit of a step backwards, unfortunately. I've written here, not really a lover of the vocals. We had Smoke, her brother was on stage with her as well, looking quite stony-faced throughout. Had this gone through, I think the juries would have completely blanked it, in all honesty. Otherwise, I don't really have much else to say about it. We had the dancing animals on the backdrop. We had some dancers on stage as well. She was wearing this silver outfit. Maybe I'm too old for this. Very old school Euro pop. Yeah, I think so. We move on to Song 10 now. So we had 6 countries in a row qualifying, but Song 10 was Georgia. This was Mariam Shengelia with Freedom, and I have so little to say about this. I'm sure every Eurovision fan has very little to say about this. There was this slanted podium on stage, vocally quite impressive, I will say that much. Perhaps the best thing about this song was her voice, but that's just not good enough on its own. The song as a whole, mightily forgettable. Dancers dressed in black, doing a bit of choreo, waving white flags at one point, and there was some smoke. The crowd was pretty much completely dead for this one. It had no chance. The only song this year across both semi-finals I think most people agreed on, DOA, Dead on Arrival. And like with Croatia a little bit, and like with Ireland a little bit, Georgia did not push on from a decent result last year. They've taken a little bit of a step back. After Georgia, Czechia. Ooh, one of the flops of the year? Perhaps so. This was Adonis with Kiss Kiss Goodbye. I feel bad for him because he's a great singer. He's had a pretty successful career, but he has not made it to this year's Eurovision Grand Final. Now, where are my notes for Czechia? Not really sure I wrote anything down about this one at all, actually. Can't see Czechia written down whatsoever. Well, that just sums it up, doesn't it? I remember so little about this performance. White outfit, dancers, dance break. That wasn't too bad. Actually worked fairly well live, I would say. In terms of the visuals on the backdrop, it actually reminded me a little bit of Essa Diva. You know, maybe that's a bit of a strange comparison, but it reminded me of the look of that particular performance. But everything else, it just wasn't standing out remotely enough. And Adonis was not really the problem. The song, the studio version, is pretty solid, no doubt about it. But I think live, this just wasn't coming across in enough of a strong manner, if you see what I mean. And the momentum, which I think was there, a lot of people were really enjoying this when it was first released and things like that, but it just went and nosedived. And in the end, not really a surprise at all that Czechia aren't in the final for the second year in a row. Oh dear. After them, it's Serbia. Well, every couple of years they don't qualify, and this year is one such instance. Prince with Mila. Like with Georgia, vocally good, not much else to say about it whatsoever. At one point being dragged by his dancers, which did look particularly odd, I must say. We had smoke, fire, a very elemental looking performance, as I think I said the other day. All in all, maybe a bit too plain. Didn't really stand out enough. In fact, I would say absolutely across this entire second semi-final, Georgia and Serbia were the performances that really didn't leave much of an impression whatsoever. Even in the recap, the voting recap, I didn't think they were really standing out much to me at all, and clearly a lot of other people felt the same way because neither of those tracks made the cut. Anyway, not a bad show at all. Let's now preview the grand final. I've spoken about these songs so many damn times, so I will try to be fairly brief. The running order was revealed in the early hours of this morning, and there is a video up on my channel where I sort of reacted to it. You might well have seen it. So let's go through this. 26 countries, they'll all vote alongside the rest of the world, and of course the non-qualifiers, and the juries are involved as well. They'll be voting this evening. 50% of this year's outcome will be decided by the end of today. So you've really got to nail it on both evenings. So, we begin with Norway, a pretty safe song to get things going. It's the second year in a row that a Nordic country is opening the grand final after Sweden last year. This is the quite young Kyle Alessandro with Lighter. My thoughts on this haven't really changed at all. I think it is a pretty bog-standard, bang-average pop song. We've got blue lighting, we've got fire, pillars on stage, he's in a sort of warrior-like outfit, couple of dancers, one of whom is doing backflips towards the end of this song. I think it gets better as it goes along. He's got some confidence, which I think is quite clear watching the performance. And on the whole, this is a job well done. Likely to do a lot better than how well Norway did a year ago. Unbelievable, still not quite over the absolute shafting of Ulverham in Malmö 12 months ago. But it is what it is. Norway, I think, a lot of people don't mind this song, and I think first-time listeners aren't going to mind this song. We know it's not going to win. We know it's probably not going to finish last. It's just one of those songs that's there, and we'll probably forget about by the time, the results start to come in. Anyway, Norway, not bad, always likely to go through, and they're opening the grand final. Song 2, Luxembourg. Well, an up-tempo song followed by another up-tempo song. Luxembourg were a bit of a dark horse last year and did really quite well for themselves, finishing, was it in the top 10? Or very near to the top 10 in the jury half of the results in last year's grand final. The public score, not quite so impressive, and we might have something similar happen again this year. Of course, it's La Poupée Monte le Son by Laura Thorne. I have a feeling that this is the first Eurovision performance ever where the face of a former Eurovision winner is on the LED screen behind the performing artist, because we had France Gall on the screen behind Laura Thorne last night. They've got a doll's house image on the backdrop. There's choreo, sort of awkward movements, but that fits the song, this idea of being a puppet or a doll, that sort of thing. She's working the camera, she looks great, she's a very beautiful woman, and she's in this shortish silver dress in the final third. Vocally, I thought it was okay. It's a very playful number, could easily have opened this year's grand final, actually. And I like the nod to the past as well. I don't think it should be written off whatsoever. It is definitely a bit of a dark horse, and I think more people like it now than perhaps even just a few weeks ago. And I think it's a little bit of a crowd pleaser. First-time listeners, they may well be charmed by this one. Song 3 is Estonia, Tommy Cash, Espresso Macchiato, on early, but I don't think that's too damaging at all. Somebody actually said in the comments of the video I uploaded earlier today, the running order doesn't matter at all because you can vote from the start. That might be the case, but a lot of first-time viewers and listeners don't know what's coming up, so I think they'll want to listen to everything before they decide who they want to vote for, and I do think the running order is still quite important. Anyway, Estonia, this is bound to do quite well, especially with the public. He's a big star, it's very quirky. It's not too over the top, which is quite interesting because it easily could have come across that way. He's in his suit, the long red tie, the post-it note with I Love Eurovision stuck to him. We've got the slightly crushed coffee cup. You've got the guys dressed as security guards. You've got the winner's cafe or whatever it is behind him on the LED screen. You've got the fan in the crowd who comes on stage, dances with him, and then is escorted off. That's all planned. I think that actually worked relatively well on Tuesday night. Don't mind the song at all. Definitely quite tongue-in-cheek. It is what it is. The juries, I cannot see them at all going big for this, so I think he's very reliant on public support. Maybe 200 plus points, you never know. As for Song 4, Israel, Yuval Raphael, New Day Will Rise. Well, I've seen people saying, oh, Austria, that's so forced, so desperate for jury love. Well, surely this Israeli performance is doing the exact same thing. I don't know. Yuval is in this black outfit, and there's this staircase that winds around, and it's decorated with lots of jewels, and we've got water running over rocks on the LED screen, and we've got the falling rain pyrotechnic. It's all quite grand and dramatic, and I think because they perhaps know they're going to get a huge swell of public support already, I think this is pandering a little bit to the jury side of things. And I have to say, I can see the juries giving this more love than they did last year's Israeli effort. Anyway, what else have I got to say about it? Not much at all. Not much at all. And this is not me just bashing the song for the hell of it, which I think some people do. But I will say, I just think it's fairly dull. I really do. And I thought that about last year's Israeli effort. I just found myself not really engaged with it whatsoever. I really didn't. And I've barely listened to Hurricane, and I've barely listened to New Day Will Rise, but we all know what's going to happen tomorrow night, don't we? And what with it being the first ballad in the running order, I think it does stand out because of that. Song 5 is Lithuania, Catharsis, Tavoakis. So, as I've said previously, this is a very sombre and moody type of track. It's never been performed badly. They're on stage, baggy blue outfits, vocally pretty good. He looks quite dead in the eyes, I'm not going to lie, when the camera zooms into him. I thought this was pretty good last night, and of course Lithuania have some pals. You just know the UK and Ireland are waiting to dish out at least 8 points each for this song tomorrow night in the public half of the results. How the juries will go for this, I'm not entirely sure. It reminded me a little bit of sort of some Nirvana material at the start. It does have a slight grungy edge, I would say. Then it reminded me a bit of Sigur Rós, one of my favourite bands from Iceland. Absolutely fantastic. Quite back and forth, moving into the audience and then back and then into the audience again. This barren landscape on the backdrop. I thought it was a job well done. But how well it will do tomorrow night, I'd say it's a little bit hard to predict. As for Song 6, Spain, the first automatic qualifier up in the final. This is Melody with Essa Diva. She's been around a long time, bit of a child star. She has got great energy and vigour, and she's really going for this. Essa Diva is a pretty ordinary pop song, but I don't mind it at all. Visually, it just isn't that strong. It's very grey. There should be lots of colour to this. We have the costume change at the start. She's in this quite dramatic, long, black outfit with the hat. And then she's in this more sexy silver attire, bopping about, dances on stage with her. The falling rain pyrotechnic as well for this one. It's good, but it's bound to struggle. And here's the thing. Chanel won Benidorm Fest, even though the Spanish people didn't really want her at the time, and she got Spain's best result for a very, very long time. But since then, Spain have gone backwards, and if this song doesn't really do well tomorrow night, perhaps you have to say, is Benidorm Fest really working if the results at Eurovision aren't really that good at all? If anything, they're getting worse year upon year. I don't know. I like her, like the song, wish her well, but it's probably going to struggle. Song 7, Ukraine. Well, a lot of people are miffed about this, saying Ukraine, they've only got to fart and they're in the final. I think there's an element of truth in that. But people are moaning because Cyprus missed out, Belgium missed out. Oh, they should be going through instead of Ukraine. It is what it is. This is a fine song. My friend quite likes it. It's Zifferblatt with Bird of Prey. Don't really have much to say about it. There's very little going on in terms of the staging. It's quite bright, sort of neon colours on the screen behind them. Vocally, it's okay, I guess. Don't mind the outfits. I just don't think it lives long in the memory. But Ukraine usually do really, really well. So nobody should be writing this one off. After them, and there might be a slight pause in proceedings here, I'm not entirely sure, it's the UK. Remember Monday, what the hell just happened? So this was performed last night in the second semi-final, and I thought it was okay. I don't really know how to word it, but it feels out of place. It doesn't really feel like it's a part of this year's contest. It feels so odd somehow, and I don't really know why I think that, but maybe I'm not the only person who believes that. The harmonies are great, the outfits are fine, you've got the askew chandelier which lights up on stage behind them, you've also got another prop which they stand on, and the heart that they look through at the end of this performance. Even though it's a fairly up-tempo and buoyant number, it's actually quite dark, I would say. If anything, there needs to be, like with Spain, more vibrancy. Where is it? Can't remember whether we had any pyro or not, but we should be getting some of that tomorrow night, definitely. Apart from the vocal ability of this trio, I'm not sure what else is really going to appeal to anybody. The juries may save us, because in the public vote, I hate to say it, but 0 points is probably coming. 0 points is probably coming, and it would be disgraceful and very saddening to see, but honestly, I don't know what more of a wake-up call the BBC want. That Sam Ryder effect has well and truly worn off in my opinion, but I really do wish them well. After the UK, oh boy, it's one of the major candidates to win, Austria. JJ Wasted Love. Love this. He was on the UK's version of The Voice a couple of years ago, just like Remember Monday, if I remember correctly. And this song builds and builds. It's atmospheric and dramatic, and it's entirely in grayscale. And there's a makeshift boat, and it's stormy conditions, and the camera's shaking about a little bit. Not sure that's massively effective. And then at the end, it turns into this throbbing techno-type number. Strobe lights everywhere, the lighthouse on the backdrop, vocally very strong, maybe not quite hitting those high notes, but then again, I'm not sure many of us could hit those high notes. Definitely going to do extremely well in the jury vote, maybe not quite as well with the public, but nobody should be saying this is out of contention. It's a really, really accomplished effort, and it stands out. Song 10 is Iceland. This is Vibe with Roa. The two guys, obviously related, silver outfits, dancers also in silver outfits, another performance with a boat on stage, pretending to play the violin. I think this gets better as it goes on. I think it's a crowd pleaser. I think everybody will be fired up for this one if they sort of felt that Austria's was a little bit too pretentious maybe. It's a good time. However, I expect Iceland to struggle, but how great it is to see them back in the final after a good few years. Then it's Latvia. Well, I'm so tempted to buy a Latvian flag. A, because it's brown, brown and white, and there aren't many flags with that sort of colour going on. And secondly, because why not? I do collect flags, I'm not going to lie. This song is Burman Laimi by Tautu Meitas. This is great. Isn't it great this is in the final, even if it's not your thing? How fantastic. A song like this, otherworldly, folksy, in Latvian, by a girl group with a curtain on stage and smoke all around them, with lights on their heads and tails appearing from their backsides at one point. I mean, only at Eurovision, I suppose. But how great a song like this is in the final, and I really hope they're not criminally underrated. What a brilliant result. After years in the wilderness, they've qualified, sort of against the odds, I suppose, for 2 years running. Fantastic. It's not one of my big favourites, but I wish them well, and I thought it was staged wonderfully. Then it's the Netherlands, Song 12. There should be a lot of love for this one, but I think he's going to be mostly reliant on jury support. It's Cloud with C'est la vie. Decent singer, pretty much all one camera shot, smartly dressed, musicians pretending to play their instruments on stage. Not much else is going on. Maybe it doesn't quite stand out enough, and Finland are on next. But this is a contender for the win if everybody else messes up for some reason, and it's just a beautiful piece of music, and I think the Netherlands should be very proud of who is representing them this year. And it's quite an emotional number as well. Finland, Song 13, closing the first half. This is just fantastic. Owning the performance. It's a little bit smutty, but I think people probably won't mind that. It's Erika Wickman with Ik Komma. She sounded pretty good. She looked great, very fierce, just strutting about, doing her thing, which is what she did at UMK several months ago. And then, of course, the microphone with the sparks coming out. I think it made her jump in last night's performance. She was like, oh, didn't expect that to happen. But this is just fantastic. Like it from start to finish. And no pun intended there, but finish. Should be getting a lot of points, possibly 250 from the public. At least, that could happen, with the juries, I'm just not sure, but surely a top 10 finish is coming Finland's way again. Then we have Italy, a real change of pace here. Lucio Corsi, Volevo essere un duro. If this does extremely well with the juries, nobody should be surprised. It's really nicely done. This hazy atmosphere, big props on stage. Lucio, who's such a striking performer anyway, reminds me a little bit of a sort of Italian version of David Bowie, that sort of thing. This huge piano. You've got the co-songwriter off to one side, love his guitar, vocally pretty good, English lyrics on the screen as well, which will help their cause. Hopefully this won't be underrated as well. It's a really nice effort. Then it's Poland, song 15. Justyna Steczkowska is back after 30 years, and this song is Gaia. So this is maybe a little bit cluttered, and maybe first-time listeners will find it a little bit too shrieky, if you see what I mean, for their personal tastes. But Poland have pals. This is coming for a top 10 finish with the public tomorrow night. No doubt about it in my mind. Would be surprised if that didn't happen. A lot of points will be going this song's way. There could be a real difference of opinion between the public and the jury. This is very fierce, black outfit, dancers, fire, a sort of starry planet landscape on the screen behind her. I don't mind it at all, not one of my big favourites, but probably going to do all right for itself. Then we have Germany following Poland, which is very interesting. Aborrentina with Baller, the guy pretending to play his light-up white cello. She's looking fantastic, I must say. There's a rave-like atmosphere on stage, a big prop, we've got pyro. Not a lot of countries are really using pyro a great deal this year, but it is what it is. I really like this, it's a very contemporary offering. However, maybe it felt a tad awkward last night during the second semi-final. She didn't look totally comfortable in my opinion. I'm hoping that tomorrow night she just lets loose, and Germany deserve love. This should be nowhere near last place. This should be finishing higher than last year's German entry. But it probably won't. Such is the nature of Eurovision. We move on. Greece, song 17, Klavdia Asteromata, announced as the last qualifier last night. This is beautiful. Not a huge fan of the staging, but it's not too bad. Another performance that could be described as quite elemental. She's gorgeous, glasses, beautiful dress. Somebody on stage with her sort of looking up at her at one point. Can't remember too much about the performance. The rock, which sort of glows at one point. It's a beautiful track and instrumentally fantastic. One of the best of the year in my opinion. Not sure this is going to be up there challenging for the win at all, but should stay well away from last place. Armenia, super macho stuff now. Song 18, Parg with Survivor. Yes, this song is co-written by the same people who co-wrote Tattoo and Euphoria. Unbelievable. Thomas Gierson and Peter Bostrom, and about 500 other people as well. This was staged in a pretty impressive manner, very bright, quite visually arresting in that sense. Several on-screen effects. He's running about on a treadmill-like thing, covered in sweat, dirt, grime. It's a very dirty sort of song, I would say. Vocally, he's okay. There is a lot of vim to this performance, I would say. Not sure how well it's going to do tomorrow night, but not surprised it's in the final. Then we have the host nation, Switzerland, Zoe May with Voyage. This is so striking for its complete simplicity. The juries will eat this up, and the public, if they have any sense about them, will dish out a lot of love as well. This is just so beautiful. She's in this nice dress, the camera's moving back and forth, there's not much to it at all. It's all about the beautiful nature of this track, really, and that shines through. And I'm really hoping this is up there getting a lot of love. I'm sure it will. It's a really solid host nation effort, and hopefully the camera doesn't malfunction again like it did the other night. Then we have Malta, Mirjana Conte serving. This is a very saucy number, but Mirjana's great. She's really owning it. She's wearing that huge coat at the start, and then she's in this leopard print style dress. She's got dancers. There's quite a lot going on the screen behind her. You've got the pair of lips, the disco ball which turns around at the start. It's very playful. I've actually written here that at the start it reminded me of Nicki Minaj, which might be a bit of a strange comparison, but there we are. I enjoyed this. I think from start to finish it was pretty solid. It was quite fun. A lot of people obviously really love this, but now that the lyric that we all knew about before has gone, has this lost some of its impact? I don't know. And how will the juries respond to this? Then we have Portugal, bit of a dark horse, Napa with Deslocado, all-male group. Not much to say about this in terms of the staging and how it looks visually. The colour scheme isn't too bad. The vocals certainly aren't too bad. And this has fans. It could do much better than we're all expecting tomorrow night. And this is the 5th final in a row, I believe, where Portugal are involved. So that has to be celebrated. Then we have Denmark. They're back in the final for the first time since 2019. Fantastic. I'm very happy about it. Sissal, who is from the Faroe Islands, isn't she? Which is absolutely wonderful. Is she the first Faroese artist to be in a Eurovision final? Not entirely sure. This is Hallucination. Don't love the staging, didn't love the staging at DMGP, but she's great. She sounds good every time. She's in this bright blue outfit with the blue boots. She's got dancers, if I remember correctly. This sort of wavy ribbon effect on the LED screen, flashing lights everywhere. She's very popular. It's a very safe, somewhat basic entry, but hopefully there will be some points going her way. Then we have Sweden, the favourites to win. Still, Kai Barbarabastu, #1 for weeks in their homeland. Massively popular in Finland. Eurovision fans absolutely adore this. The dancers with their towels, cooking the sausage, they're smartly dressed, trees either side of them, the makeshift sauna on stage, playing the accordion. It's a good time. It's quirky. It's, as what Graham Norton would say, classic Eurovision. Is this really going to win? Will the juries go massive for this? I don't think they will. Will the public go massive for this? I think the answer is probably yes. Is it the one to beat? I suppose so. Sweden are coming for that 8th win, and they've already said if they do win, next year's competition might be a much more stripped-back affair. Then we have France, another major contender right up next. Song 24, Luan, big star in her homeland. Beautiful song, vocally great, sand everywhere. I was very moved by this. I really was. I found it a very moving performance last night, and I think a lot of other people will as well. And I'm not fluent in French whatsoever, but I just found it really, really beautiful. So simplistic. Not as simplistic as Switzerland, but still really nice. This is Maman. Her daughter's voice can be heard at the end. We don't know what she's going to wear. I believe she's got a different dress for tomorrow night. This could be the jury winner, and France have done well with the public in the past with classic ballads, and the same could happen again this year. Watch out, because it could be Paris or Lyon or something like that, 2026. Then we have San Marino. Well, they'll get some love from Italy, but I'm not sure this is going to get a lot of love from elsewhere, but who knows. Gabri Ponte with Tutta d'Italia, another crowd pleaser, lots of flashing lights. We've got classical imagery and more modern imagery as well with this one. It's quite awkward. He's there behind his deck. The other guys either side of him are doing the heavy lifting. It's okay, but by the end of the show, coming after Sweden and France, ooh, that might be a bit damaging. And then we have Albania, Shkodra Elektronika with Zhern. People are still convinced this is going to win. I've never felt that way, but I do like this song more than I did several months ago. I think vocally it's pretty good. She looks quite powerful. He's very stony-faced off to one side. Lots of boxes on stage with them. The graphics are fantastic. This is one of Albania's finest efforts for many years. It's in Albanian too, which is great, and I'm sure this is going to get quite a lot of love from both the public and the juries. So, with that being said, let's now crack on and let me tell you my prediction for the results. So, this is very rough and it's not to be taken seriously. Can't emphasise that enough. So each song has been judged out of 100 in various categories. The vocals, the staging, the betting odds, as of last night, momentum, how I think the jury will vote for them, how I think the public will vote for them, and then me ranking the songs top to bottom, bottom to top, not taking into consideration any of the other factors. Then you work out the average score, sort them by top to bottom, bottom to top, and you have the prediction. This will not change now, and my word is it close. So, I'm going to do this, and hopefully it's going to work. Finishing last in the grand final, and I'll tell you the specific scores in just a moment. But first up, finishing last, San Marino. I know, I'm just not sure this is going to do that well. Reminds me a little bit of Adrenalina. There was more hype for that one several years ago, of course, Senate and Flow Rider, but ultimately nobody really voted for it. In 25th, I'm hoping it's a bit higher. Don't know if you can see this very well, but it's Iceland. I think a lot of people are probably expecting that one to finish near the bottom. In 24th, I am sure I am wrong with this one, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles, Armenia. I can actually see them finishing much higher up, but it is what it is. 23rd, this could also finish a bit higher. It's a dark horse, as I said earlier, it's Portugal in 23rd place. In 22nd place, and it could be lower, it's Spain. I'm hoping it's higher, but I'm being realistic. This is probably finishing right near the bottom tomorrow night, unfortunately. 21st place, I think this is probably about right. Can't see it being much higher. Denmark. At least they're back in the final. That has to be celebrated. Now they have to push on next year and start making the final consistently again. In 20th place, yeah, not sure about this, but it's Norway in 20th place. Just not sure there's a lot of interest in that song, truth be told. But I could be wrong. 19th. Yeah, Latvia. Like I said, wishing them well. It's a very special entry if you ask me. In 18th place, and the UK will dish out some points here, Lithuania. Regular qualifiers, but maybe this isn't going to be near the top 10 for them this time around. 17th, and yeah, this could finish last, couldn't it? Germany. Should be higher, but we all know what's probably going to happen. What a great entry, though. 16th place, another big dark horse, and showing that small nations can do the business at the ESC. It's Luxembourg. People will be charmed by Laura, they really will. In 15th place, I think this is about right, slap bang in the middle somewhere, Greece, Klavdia, Asteromata. Probably over 100 points from the public. I think that's a possibility. 14th, well, it's the UK. And I really think it could be a lot lower. Last year I predicted 12th for Ollie Alexander, and I predicted 11th, I think, for May Muller in 2023. So I'm usually not great with my predictions regarding my own country. So take it with a pinch of salt. The UK could be bottom 5 or could be nudging the top 10. That jury score is all important. Then we have 13th place, and it could be higher. This pen is running out, so I apologise. It's Estonia. Very reliant on public support, I would say, but you never know, maybe the juries will be in the mood for an espresso macchiato to keep them going because it's a long night. Then we have in 12th place, I think this is about right, for Poland, Justina with Gaia. Let me change my pen now, shall we? Why not? Moving into the top 10 shortly, but in 11th place, I have gone with Ukraine. Bound to do well. Nobody should ever write this country off. Zifferblatt with Bird of Prey. Now we move into the top 10. This is where it gets interesting. In 10th place, although it could be higher, and this could maybe even win the jury vote. I don't know, but it's Italy that I've got down in 10th place. In 9th place, maybe a bit generous, but I've gone with Malta. Yeah, I think that could happen. Absolutely. We'll soon find out. In 8th place, maybe this is a bit generous, but people think it could win. It's Albania. I've got down in 8th place. In 7th place, oh boy, it could be a lot higher. I've gone with Israel. We know the public score is going to make things very interesting for a lot of other countries vying for the win. So we have to consider the possibility that it could muck things up for some other countries. But anyway, Israel in 7th. In 6th place, and this would be very deserved, it's the host nation, Switzerland. Hopefully the public will be on board with this enough. In 5th place, not sure about this one, but it's the way it panned out when I did this prediction last night. Cloud with C'est la Vie for the Netherlands, finishing in 5th place. And that would be a very good result. Now then, in 4th, if you've been paying attention, you'll know who's left. I've gone with Ik Kommer for Finland in 4th place. Absolutely. More points from the public, but I don't think the juries will be totally blanking it. In 3rd, I've gone with Sweden. I know. I think why Sweden is 3rd, and it is very close, is because I think there are other songs that the juries will like quite a bit more. And I think the other songs that I've yet to mention vocally are stronger, hence potentially why they might get more love from the public, from the jury rather. I don't know. Sweden third, definitely top three. This doesn't really matter too much, like I said. In second place, Austria. Oh, it's so close. It's razor thin, dear viewers. Which means, of course, I have predicted, and I did not think I would be saying this a week ago. I did not think I'd be saying this at all, but last night convinced me a bit, and I've been saying it for a long time. This has to be considered a major challenger. It's France. I'd be very happy if France won. It would be their first win since the late 70s. It's a beautiful track. I think they've been gunning for victory at Eurovision for some time now. It's Luan with Maman. So let me now go through the specificities for you. San Marino were last with 58.7, Iceland 59.7, Armenia 64.6, Portugal 64.7, Spain 65, Denmark 66.3, Norway 66.7, Latvia 67, Lithuania 67.3, Germany 67.6, Luxembourg 67.7, Greece 71.4, bit of a jump, UK 72.4, Estonia 72.7, Poland 73, Ukraine 73, but narrowly ahead in some other categories, Italy 75.3, Malta 78.4, Albania 78.9, Israel 80.3, mainly that high because we all know what's going to happen with the public, Switzerland 83.4, Netherlands 83.9, Finland 85.3, Sweden 88.6, Austria 89.6, and France 89.6. A tie for the top, but France are narrowly ahead in one or two categories. Quite unbelievable. For the record, and I've pressed the wrong button, in 2021 I predicted Italy to win 89.7. In 2022 I predicted Ukraine to win 89.3. In 2023 I predicted Sweden to win 92.7. Last year I predicted Switzerland to win 88.7, and this year France 89.6. So my track record at predicting the winner is not too bad, but this year definitely I am not convinced. It's not to be taken seriously. It's just a bit of fun. I'd be happy if France won, if Austria won, if Sweden won, if Finland won, if the Netherlands won, if Switzerland won again. Honestly, I think I'm going to be happy whoever wins tomorrow night, barring some sort of catastrophe. That's it. Let me know your thoughts on this year's grand final, and all being well, I'll be back tomorrow night to react to the results as they come in. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little bit better. One thing is for sure, I think it's going to be a fairly sort of reserved video tomorrow night. I'm not going to be getting too worked up about it because I just haven't really got the energy. And truth be told, I am looking forward to this week being over. But anyway, that's it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.